Hey guys, I was watching a video on Valorant and how they're trying to combat Peaker's Advantage, so I thought I would explain it since my job deals with this stuff a lot. So, what's Peaker's Advantage? Well, Peaker's Advantage is the time it takes for the data of an action you perform to reach the other person's computer. So, say you perform the action of going around the corner. Peaker's advantage is how long it takes for the other guy to see you coming around the corner. Going around the corner, you can already see the guy. The guy is already on your screen. As soon as you go around the corner, he will never see you come around the corner until he gets the information that you have. So, you pop around the corner, dude's already there. But, well, you see him, but the data has to travel from your computer to the server physically. So, like, example, I live in Virginia, other guy lives in California, server's in Texas. The data has to travel from my computer to the server in Texas, then from the server to this guy's house before he sees me. That's a long distance. It's physically just going to take a long time. So, say I have 40 ping, he has 30 ping. It's basically just the sum of the two. The data always has to go to the server before it goes to their house. So, it goes to their computer. It's just going to, Peaker's advantage is the sum of both of yours ping. Both of y'all's ping. The other thing that can come into effect is tick rate. So, imagine the server is an airport. The airport only sends out planes every 30 minutes. People can come into the airport, but they will have to wait until the next 30-minute interval before they get on the plane and leave. A tick rate, so much like how an airport would only send out planes at certain intervals, the server will take all this information in, but it won't send it to the player's computers until the next tick happens. Luckily, it's not 30 minutes. 64 tick servers that are on CSGO matchmaking servers would, or 64 tick instances on CSGO servers update every 15 milliseconds. That's not very long, but it can add up. And also, it's variable. Well, what do you mean by variable? I'll get to that in a second. For example, if I have 40 milliseconds ping, the other guy has 30, and it takes 50 milliseconds for the server to update, that would be like a grand total of 85 milliseconds before the guy sees me. The tick rate can be variable. You could send data at 5, like for example with the airport, you could get there at 5:29, instantly get on the plane and go. Or you could show up at 5:31 and have to wait 29 minutes. You know what I mean? So when your data gets to the server, there is a variable amount of time before it gets sent out. It could be between 1 and 15 milliseconds on CSGO servers. So what do we do to combat this? Well, you could reduce the amount of time it takes for people to get to the server. How would you do that? Well, I live in Virginia. If I had a server in, like, Washington, D.C., which is right close to me, then I have to travel. I get lower ping because it doesn't take my data that long to get to the server. And if this was the case, it would only match me against people who are also close to that server. So everybody gets a low ping because the server's close to all of them. Sometimes if you play Counter-Strike and you ask everybody else where they're from, they will often be somewhere relatively close to you in the grand scheme of things. That's because Counter-Strike does this as well. And another thing you can do to reduce the amount of latency is increase the amount of times the server updates. So instead of updating every 30 minutes, or instead of sending out planes every 30 minutes, it sends planes out every 15 minutes. So you could, if you show up at the worst possible time, it's only 14 minutes, and if you show up the best time, it's still the same, right? And making it more consistent, because gaps in or differences in possible time is inconsistent, and that's not good for a competitive game. Inconsistency is something you want to limit. So Riot has contracted to different data centers across the country to have their servers hosted on them, and so that players can be geolocated to a data center that's close to them to reduce their ping. And then you'll play against other people that are close to you so that both hops are short. Both distances are short. So it's instead of going from like Virginia to Texas to California, it's like Virginia to DC back to Virginia. It's a lot less distance. And then increasing the tick rate so that the data is not sitting at the server for as long can also reduce the amount of like ping. So that's what Riot is doing to help with Valorant servers. I know I haven't even talked about the game, but that is the way the data travels. Or I try to explain the way the data travels in the game. That's how Riot is trying to reduce peeker's advantage. For example, on the Virginia, Texas, California example, it would be 40 milliseconds from a data go from Virginia to Texas, sits there for 10 milliseconds or so, and then goes to California, which would take 30 milliseconds. That all adds up to about 80 milliseconds. But if one player lives in Virginia, the other lives in like North Carolina, they're both getting 15 millisecond ping, and the server updates every 7 milliseconds. That's only 37. So we've gone from 48 to 37. Or did I say 48? I meant 80. I meant 80. So 80 to like 37, effectively reducing peeker's advantage by half. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about. So an example of peeker's advantage is do me a favor, and if you've ever played like Call of Duty, they have like 12 tick servers, or they have really bad servers in comparison to like Counter-Strike and Valorant, but they just have cheap servers. They don't update as many times, and then since the tick rate is so bad, like 12 or like 24, it could be like almost a tenth of a second before the game updates it sometimes, and send data to you. So between that and ping, have you ever gotten shot around a corner and never even seen the guy? Yeah, that's peeker's advantage because both of y'all have high ping, and it takes the server 50 to 100 milliseconds to update, and it ends up being like a third of a second sometimes, and they can kill you in under a third of a second. So you died before you saw him. So that is an example of peeker's advantage. So I think I've done a good job explaining this, but if you have any other questions, feel free to DM me on YouTube. You can also message me on Reddit u/RAZGRIZTP. Just PM me on there. I check it 4 or 5 times a day, and I'll reply to you. If you like content like this, most of my content's about League of Legends, so I guess I like the video, but you don't have to subscribe because most of my content's not going to be about this. So, but like, comment, subscribe, all that fucking bullshit. You know what the YouTubers say now these days. So, goodbye, guys. I hope I helped y'all out. If I did, let me know.